Hey, friends, welcome back to the Authors Allies podcast. If you're new here, I'm Rebecca, and I am so glad you're here today because we are talking about something that I think is one of the most quietly costly mistakes I see authors making. And I say quiet because it doesn't feel like a mistake in the moment you're doing it. It actually feels completely normal and it might even feel responsible, like you're staying focused and moving forward, but it's really costing you more than you realize. You spend time creating a piece of content, right? You research it, you draft it, you revise it, and you finally hit publish. And then you share it once, maybe twice if you remember, and then you move on, right? I mean, the next week rolls around, you're staring at a blank page, trying to figure out what to create now, right? And that whole exhausting cycle just starts all over again from zero. Does this sound familiar? If so, stick around. Let's talk about where to go next to start building that ecosystem that we talked about last time. So here's the question I want you to sit with today. What if publishing was never meant to be the finish line? Because here's what I've come to believe after years of working with indie authors on their content and marketing. The publish button is not the end of the story, not when it comes to your book or any content you create to go with it. It's actually the beginning. And when you start treating it like that, everything about how you approach your content starts to shift a little bit and make your life a bit easier. So I want to focus on the why behind this shift. We're going to talk about what content repurposing actually is and what it isn't, because there are some real misconceptions out there. We're going to dig into the strategic returns it delivers for your author's business. And I want to introduce you to something called generative engine optimization. And I think that's going to become increasingly important for authors that want that long-term discoverability. And then in episode 2 of this, because there's so much, I need to break it into 2. We'll take you behind the scenes of exactly how a content repurposing system works in practice, step by step, tool by tool, with the real example from my own content workflow. So if you're someone who learns by seeing it done, stay tuned for that episode too. But today, let's build on that foundation. I want to start by naming what I call the one and done trap, because I think most of us are living in it without even realizing it, and I did as well. The one and done trap looks like this. You write the content, you share it once, it gets a little traction, or maybe it doesn't, and then it disappears into your archive while you go back to the beginning and start creating all over again every single time. But here's the thing about that. This approach is so exhausting. I mean, I'm tired just thinking about it, right? Not logistically, but creatively too. When you're constantly having to generate new ideas and content from scratch, you're really depleting your creative energy at a rate that's completely unstable. And what that does is that makes it even harder for you to now be able to turn around and take time and creative energy to write your book. Think about what actually goes into creating this solid piece of content. You develop an idea, you're drawing on your experience, you're structuring your thoughts in a way that's genuinely useful and valuable to your reader. And that is the hard part of content marketing, right? That's the investment of your time. And then when you share it once and move on, you're getting a fraction of the return that that investment could generate for you. So I want to push back a little bit on something because I know some of you are thinking, I don't want to be repetitive. I don't want my audience to feel like I'm just recycling the same old content. And I totally hear you on that. I'm going to try to adjust my camera a little bit better. I totally hear you on that. But here's what you need to understand. It's really important to know that the vast majority of your contents didn't see your content the first time around. Most of them weren't there. The algorithm didn't show it to them. They were busy. They weren't following you yet. Or maybe they just scrolled right on past it because it wasn't the right moment for them. So strategically building on and resharing your content is not being repetitive. It's making sure that your ideas actually reach the people who need them. And that really brings us to the real alternative to the one and done trap. It's called content repurposing. And I've talked about this a lot over the years, but I want to make sure we're clear on what that actually means to me and what it should mean to you. It's not just reposting your stuff. So this is worth spending a minute on because I see these two things Reposting and repurposing get linked together and they're really different. Bleh. How about that, guys? That's live TV for you. Reposting means sharing the exact same piece of content again without any changes. You just copy and paste and hit post, right? Same caption, same image, same everything. While there is occasionally a time and a place for that, it's not really strategy, it's just repetition. Repurposing is something a little different. That's when you take your core idea and you adapt it into a new format that is suited to a different platform or even a different audience altogether. So, a quick example of what that could look like in practice. Say you write a blog post about why your book's setting matters to your actual story. Reposting would be just sharing that link again a month later with the same caption, right? But if you're repurposing it, you would pull the most compelling paragraph, maybe turn it into a quote graphic or record a 60-second little video where you talk about the same idea in more of a casual conversational way for reels. You maybe even would write a short email excerpt that opens with a personal story and links back to that full post. Or you can take the whole thing and turn it into a podcast episode where you go even deeper. So you've got that same core idea, but in totally different formats. And this makes a completely different kind of just like an experience, right? For the readers and the places or the formats they actually prefer. That's the difference right there. So reposting is just platform agnostic. It ignores how people actually use different apps and spaces. Repurposing is platform native. So that's going to meet a reader where they naturally are in the format that fits that space the best. And when it's done with intention, it's genuinely going to be a growth engine for your author, platform, and ecosystem. So there are some different strategic returns on repurposing. And let's talk about what that does for you. The first thing is that it's going to save you time and your budget without sacrificing quality. So you don't want to totally replete your creative brain because you need that to write your next book, right? And so taking some long form content and repurposing it into other pieces is going to help you to do the deep thinking once and extract from it. So the second return you're going to get out of this is that your readers can be reached where they actually are. If you have readers that are only on YouTube and they never get on social media, they need to see little posts, little shorts, even a couple of posts in text format on YouTube here. Your audience isn't all in one place. And so they aren't consuming content the same way. Some readers may even prefer email in their inbox. And that is another thing that you can do, right? So that third return that you're reinforcing for your readers is that you are building your authority and your trust. This one is a little more important for authors specifically because the trust is ultimately what sells your books. Familiarity is the foundation of trust. Let me say that again. Familiarity is the foundation of trust. And so when potential readers encounter your ideas across multiple platforms and formats, this is when they begin to recognize you as a creative, consistent presence in your space. You're not just posting to post, right? You're worth paying attention to. And eventually, someone's going to buy that book because they already feel like they know you. And the fourth return on your investment of time here is that it's going to increase your conversions over the long haul, right? Research marketing consistently shows that people need multiple exposures to a message before they take action. Whether that action is clicking a link, signing up for your list, or buying a book, it rarely happens on that first encounter. So, repurposing strategically creates those additional exposures naturally across the different contexts and platforms without requiring you to develop entirely new content each time. So, your message is the same, but the format changes. And the accumulation of those exposures is going to be what eventually moves someone forward from awareness to action. So, to recap what I'm saying, the repurposing saves you time, reaches more of your readers, builds authority and trust, and creates conversions over time. This is a growth strategy, not a shortcut. This is strategic content and action. Okay, and now one more thing I want to give you a little intro to before we wrap up today. And I think this is really important to understand as authors that as we're moving through the next 2 years of content and marketing, we are all familiar with SEO, search engine optimization. But now we are having to do something new, and this is called generative engine optimization. And you're going to see this shortened to GEO. GEO is creating content in ways that helps AI tools find it. So we're talking about Google, Bing, ChatGPT, Claude. All of these need to be able to find you, understand what you're doing, and bring your work up if someone asks a question. The way people discover content is shifting. More and more people aren't just typing search terms into Google and clicking the links. They're asking their AI tools questions and they're getting synthesized answers. Now, I know that many authors are not fans of AI. Some hate it so much that they refuse to even think about this idea. But I'm telling you, those authors are going to get left behind in the dust. Even if you don't use AI at all in your business, you need to prepare your business to be found by AI. This is really important because when your ideas appear consistently across multiple platforms in well organized formats, AI is going to be more likely to recognize you as an authoritative source on your topic. And because of that, they're going to surface your content in their responses and recommend you to the readers who are asking the exact same questions you've already answered. For authors building long term discoverability, this is a meaningful and emerging advantage. Here's the beautiful thing: repurposing your content is going to help you build this almost automatically. Every time you take your core idea and distribute it across multiple platforms and in multiple formats, you're not just reaching more human readers, you're making your content more visible and credible to the AI systems that are shaping how readers are discovering you. This is a forward thinking growth strategy for any author who wants to be discoverable for years to come. Okay, let's bring it home today. Here's the core idea I want you to walk away with from this episode. Okay, publishing is not just putting something up once. This is thinking about what you've created and then strategically repurposing how you unlock it. Okay. Next week or the week after, in the next episode I'm going to show you exactly how this works in practice. I'm going to walk you behind the scenes of a real repurposing system that I'm using, starting from a single live teaching class that I did, and show you how it became a blog, a newsletter, a social media campaign, short form videos, and yes, this very podcast right here. This podcast is a repurposing of an original class that I did in my membership. So I'll show you the tools I use, the workflow I follow, and give you a minimum viable starting point that you can implement immediately, even if you have only 10 minutes to spare. 10 minutes to spare. Say that quickly 5 times, friends. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that one. In the meantime, here's your action step from today. Think about the last piece of content you created and published. Just think about one piece you've done. How else could you reformat that? Where could it live? And sit with that before the next episode. And let's start thinking about what you can do with it for the next time. If you're not ready to go this far, if you still need more information, we have a community of female indie authors building their platforms and their writing together in the Authors Allies Roundtable on School. Shoot me an email or come find us, Authors Allies Roundtable on School. It's a free group. You can check it out. And then we have paid options if you want to move up a little from there. If not, start with my free ebook, 10 Steps to Creating Your Ultimate Book Marketing Plan. I will be sure to drop the link in the notes for you. Until then, keep reading, keep writing, keep drinking that coffee, kids, and have a great day. I will talk to you with the next episode.